Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. We're on a roll. Consistent content every fortnight on the View from the Afternoon channel. Me and Vals.
Hello, it's me again. How are you?
They can't answer, Jake, unfortunately.
I was asking you.
Oh, how am I?
Oh, no, they can answer. I want them to put in the comments if it's on YouTube or...
Do you know you can do it on like Spotify now, where they can leave
you?
a comment, like you ask a question,
That's
and they
good.
can, yeah.
That is good. Well, in that case, do that then, because I want to know how you are on this day of all days today.
So, we're going out tonight, you and I.
That's news to me.
Well...
I didn't know that. I thought I was just coming here to do this quick podcast, and I was going to go home to bed.
Why are you drinking a Budweiser then?
Don't worry about that, mate. It's just my nightcap, innit?
Oh, yeah. We wanted to talk today about some musical controversial opinions. I think it's a good topic to discuss. I feel like we've got enough to say about it for sure. But
looking at your Twitter, you're a controversial person.
And I think your mic's not even turned up, so keep speaking for us.
I'm going to keep on speaking. Don't you worry about that. Oh, hello. Oh, is it
Testing,
too loud?
1, 2.
What,
Yep.
Test 1, 2.
There we go. So sorry about that, everyone. But thankfully we noticed it nice and early.
It would be not so good if we were an hour in and we only just noticed that.
That would be a nightmare.
That was a nice pop, that one.
It was good, mate. That was good.
On the last episode of me and you, we're doing the Biffy podcast. Someone commented about us drinking Sailor Jerry's. Today it's Dead Man's Fingers spiced, so we're gonna have that little tipple. There's actually not a lot left.
Is that a rum? Spiced rum?
Yes, yeah, spiced rum. So we've actually only got one in that, but we do have.
There was a lot of rum in there, Jay. You're gonna be hammered.
Well, you know, continue as you mean to go on. That's all I
think
say.
that's the saying, isn't it?
Something like that.
Music is a very divisive thing. It unites but divides in equal measure, I feel. If you come up to me and tell me you're a Machine Gun Kelly fan, I don't want to speak to you. But even the most mundane person could come up to me and start talking about 1975 or Biffy Clyro, and I'd immediately have something to talk to them about. Everyone is very opinionated with music, and I think it's right that everyone is. Music is the best thing on this planet.
Absolutely. If everyone had the same opinion on music, then it would all be
then
very
I'd never
boring.
get 1975 tickets.
Quite right. They're hard enough to get anywhere.
They sure fucking are. So we figured we'd go through some really and just chat generally about some controversial musical opinions.
And it's worth noting that this is some controversial opinions from yourself, controversial opinions from myself.
That's right.
And also some controversial opinions from the viewers of this afternoon.
Yeah, so we... Oh, shit. So we got... press the wrong button there. So we got loads of questions, or not questions, but I put out on Instagram saying, like, tell us your controversial musical opinions, and we're going to weigh in on those as well. So do you want to start us, Jake?
No?
Okay, no worries. Well, I'll have a look at my...
No, do you know what? I will start. And so... I'm probably going to bring out my hardest hitter right now.
All right.
Because it's such... It's one of those where it's a controversial opinion, but I think equally, because this band is so big, I'll have just as good amount of people to back me up as well.
Right.
I suppose I'll just go with it. The Rolling Stones are shit.
What's your justification for that?
So, okay. Maybe I was a bit harsh. The issue with the Rolling Stones, right, is they got some good songs. No Satisfaction.
It's just called Satisfaction. I Can't Get No.
That one. Paint It Black. You know, Ruby Tuesday. So they've got some great songs. But I tell you what, when you put them in, when you look at it back in the 60s, right, you had The Who, The Beatles, which I could maybe make a comment on them as well, but the Stones as well.
Yep.
At least the Beatles went, right, okay, we're going to do this. Right, here's some music. A couple of years down the line, they change it up a little bit. You know, the White Album comes out.
Yeah, I mean, changed it up almost every year.
The Who, mod icons. You know, they were the band all mods wanted to be. Went into the 70s, they were rockers. They were, you know, long hair. You know, they were great. They were cool. Rolling Stones have always maintained this blues rock sound, which evidently has worked because they're still able to sell out stadium tours. But my issue with them is they're just boring.
I agree. I completely agree.
I'm glad we got. I'm glad we got a same.
I think they're shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think they hold a candle to the Beatles or even the Who. And I think the Who are quite boring generally. I know you're a big Who fan, but
you were going to buy me a.
I like the Who, and I'd love to see them. But for every good song they've got 10 shit uns. But Rolling Stones, outside of "Gimme Shelter," I can't think of a good song.
No, absolutely. So that's kind of like my big. It helps that they've got one of the most attractive logos around. That's seen everywhere. Oh, excuse me.
I thought Mick Jagger was in the room then.
I've seen that face before.
Excuse you.
It helps that they've got that. But realistically, what have they done?
I agree. They're shit. I don't have anything more to add.
It's just one of those where if you take Mick Jagger, do you know what? Pretty good frontman. Not bad at all. He's visually kind of cool to look at. No, I'm not saying looks wise, but he's got a bit of he's a front man. He's
rock
and
and roll.
Keith Richards, what did you do with your dad's ashes?
They're in like a unused urine sample tube. My bit of them.
No, that's fine. That makes sense. He snorted his dad's.
I might do that.
Yeah?
Should we do that? Have you got your dad's ashes?
Nah, my dad was buried.
Do you want to have some of my dad's?
If it's all right,
mate, I'd do a key of my dad's ashes. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get some dad's ashes from when I next go home.
Okay.
I agree with you, mate. Rolling Stones are shit.
Yeah, it's one of the I will appreciate.
I don't even appreciate. I don't even understand
someone.
like what they've contributed.
Gimme Shelter. That's what they contributed.
Clearwater Revival. Were they not from the 60s? Like
sorry?
Creedence, CCR.
Yeah.
Are they? Maybe they're not from the 60s.
It's kind of more 70s, but
are they? Yeah. I just don't think that the Rolling Stones.
They haven't, and it was they kind of they were able to go into the 60s and be popular. But then to carry it on all the way through the 70s and 80s and not actually do anything different, and yet still have this iconic status and still be able to be defined as this band that defined music of this. They'll always be kind of classed in the top 10 best bands in the world. Absolutely
them
not.
And Dylan can get fucked.
Yeah, Dylan's a hard one for me because I appreciate. Do I appreciate Dylan?
Here's a genuine comment for you, and I'm not just saying this to take the piss. Matty Healy's a better songwriter than Bob Dylan.
Why do you think that?
He just is. His lyrics are better.
Bob Dylan's lyrics are shit. Bob Dylan, if you break down...
You're watching this, Bob.
Which we know you do. We've seen your fake YouTube and Spotify profile comment. It's interesting because if you break down all of Bob Dylan's, if you break down lyrics, if you break down vocals, if you break down guitar ability,
he's him and the Stones, right place, right time.
Yeah,
and I know you can say that about the Beatles,
100%
as well. But at least the Beatles have a really diverse portfolio.
There's something for everyone.
I really think there is. There's songs like "Little Help from My Friends," which I had on earlier today. I think it's a masterpiece.
That's not a Beatles song.
Yes, it is.
It's a George Harrison song.
No, it's not. It's the second song on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album.
Is it?
Yes, unmistakably so. And Ringo
sings
it.
I think that just proves how much I don't really care for the Beatles.
But I guess my point is like you've got songs like that, then you've got songs like the one that Catfish opened with every time. Give me Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter, yeah.
Totally different. Yeah. And anyway, we could go on about these forever. All bands of that time are right place, right time. But I think the Stones were truly shit. I agree with you.
I think in the same argument, I think the Who were underappreciated. The Who are still able to have this massive status.
They're just so much smaller though, aren't they? In the same way that they're playing Leeds Arena and it might sell out.
Yeah,
whereas
it's just
the Stones
weird.
would play
it's just so
Hyde
weird.
Park and in London.
It's for me, it's one of those where, yes, I mean, me and you have had this conversation before, and we've sat on pre's and watched a lot of performances of The Who as of current times, and it has been shit. I will openly admit it's been shit. The Who were one of my favourite bands growing up, and even I would say that I was severely disappointed the last 2 times I've seen them. But they kind of defined so much with, even with the use of like distortion, which I know the Kinks can kind of also be credited for it as well. But to really kind of like, in regards to that sound, the Marshall amp to bring that into such light.
They had 2 true, virtuoso is the wrong word, but 2 incredibly talented musicians with Entwistle and Keith Moon.
Oh, Keith, yeah. So, yeah.
So, like, they had godlike performers on bass and drums, which I don't think any of the other bands of that era really had.
No.
Zeppelin were.
No.
Zeppelin 60s? Maybe late 60s.
Very late 60s, yeah.
But so at least they had something that even today would be massively impressive. Like you watch videos of John Entwistle in The Who, and he's fucking insane by today's standards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Rolling Stones, I think they're shit.
That's good. I'm glad you agree with me on that one. And I hope other people do too. If you don't, tell me why you don't agree with me.
My controversial opinion is a bit more controversial.
Oh, shit.
Who would have thought, So I can sit and completely guilt-free and happily listen to the Lostprophets.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Ian Watkins is not the selling point of the Lostprophets.
Mm-hmm.
Lostprophets aren't an amazing band. They never were. They were never an incredible band.
How they managed to get the full status that they did, being able to headline Leeds, I will never understand, but I
don't think they ever did that.
Did they?
No. In fact, I know for a fact they never did. They headlined the Radio 1 tent, though, the Enemy.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking then.
But I think, obviously, like Ian Watkins, one of the most deplorable and disgusting and truly like a real fringe case, I think, for like, you get people being a bit noncy and then you get fucking Ian Watkins trying to literally...
I think even like Rolf Harris is maybe going like, oh...
The nonces look down on Watkins. But these songs are a relic from times before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the big singles, Rooftops, Can't Catch Tomorrow, Burn Burn, I can listen to them and appreciate them with the lens of, I almost don't even think that's Ian Watkins. I think this is a band, in the same way that like Ian Watkins doesn't deserve anything in this world ever again.
No.
You got to look at the rest of those boys in that band who were really the driving force. They're the ones with talent, right? I've looked at the writing credits, and Watkins isn't the main lyricist.
You're joking.
And he doesn't play an instrument, as far as I'm aware. So
it's only the voice.
I think, yeah, and the voice is the fucking. It's just a fluke if you're born with a good voice, isn't it? To a degree.
We could name a few artists that have fluked the way into.
It's genuinely hard to learn an instrument. As you'll learn one day, Jake, once you've learnt one.
Excuse me, I've learned lots of instruments. Thank you very much, Lee.
But my point is, I can sit and happily listen to a Lostprophets song if it comes on shuffle, and I think slowly as time moves on, that's becoming less of a controversial opinion. I mean, when we were in Glasgow this year, I think you'd left, but we went to this place to have some chicken. And it was the best place.
No, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah, I was there.
Well, they had loads of Lostprophets
they did,
on there.
Well,
Download Festival was playing it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's happened on countless occasions for us where we've been somewhere and they've just played, it's never just one.
It's always
never
recurring,
just
isn't it?
one Lostprophets.
Someone trying to push
There's
the luck.
always like 2 of them, and it's very interesting because, like I say, it happened in Glasgow and it happened at Download before, and I feel like we've been in a club somewhere and it's happened as well.
Oh, I don't think I've heard it in a club.
No,
yet,
I'm almost certain we have.
Maybe tonight I'll message Sav, who might be on decks, and say, any chance of Can't Catch Tomorrow? She'll say, please leave.
But it is a valid point to make of it.
You got to separate the art from the artist sometimes.
100%. 100%.
People buy art that's done by serial killers. Mm-hmm. That's not condoning the serial killer.
No, that's kind of what the physical thing.
You got to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
And
it is good. And
Lostprophets have some bangers.
They do. I mean, I will still stand with a song that is, in retrospect, a shit song, but We Bring an Arsenal, I think it's a great song. It's like a proper, like...
4am Forever. There's loads of songs. They were all right, you know.
I remember, I think we had this conversation when we were walking through the camps at Leeds Fest, I think, last year. And I could have made this up in my head, but I'm pretty sure we had a similar conversation to this about Lostprophets, because I think one of the rides was playing some Lostprophets. And I remember us talking about them, and yeah, they are an interesting one because they do have great songs, and yes, Ian may have done some absolutely disgusting things that cannot be condoned.
But we're not co-signing Ian. We're co-signing the band. We're saying standing behind the rest of those boys.
What are they doing now?
They're but the rest of them are part of a band, or they are a band called No Devotion. They're actually at 2,000 Trees.
Really?
So I'd recommend go and see them and show them some love, because their life was torn apart by this fucking monster. And I almost wish that they would just re-record those Lostprophets songs
just with someone else.
Their contributions, and just get like me on vocals or anyone else, you know, or me. And I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I remember when all this came out, my girlfriend at the time, her brother loved Lostprophets, and I mean like loved them. He had so much like stuff. He had like CDs, like vinyl, like posters, jumpers, t-shirts. He had so much stuff. And I remember one night I was round and it was like, right, it's time. I looked up, I was like, what do you mean?
No.
Went outside. For some reason he had a steel bin. I don't know why he had a steel bin. Yeah, they had
good, those steel bins.
Yeah.
Though.
And he just burnt them all. And we just stood outside.
Burn.
And just watched it all burn.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why people would do that.
I'd love to know if he regrets that now.
Well, they're worth fuck all, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. But
a friend of mine, Ben, who you might, I don't think you've ever met him, Jay. He's been in some of the Leeds Fest videos. Really big guy, quite muscly, covered in tattoos.
I have a big beard.
Yeah. He like collects Lostprophets t-shirts, or at least he did. I haven't spoken to him for many years now, but he had probably at least 50 different Lostprophets t-shirts. But this was after it. This was not like he had them. Like
he wanted the collection.
He sought them out as a. I don't think he wore them necessarily, but I think that's quite...
That's funny.
It's an interesting thing, because it's like, how can I procure something that's now going to be much harder to get? Because people are going to think to sell them.
Something that wasn't necessarily classed as a collectible or a rarity kind of thing has now all of a sudden just become so much more.
But this is not co-signing nonsense, okay? I just want to make that very clear. There's just some good songs peppered in there. You want to go with another, Vals?
Another one. So here's one that I keep tiptoeing on, and it's more the case I want to know your opinion on this.
Okay. Well, I'm here. I'm ready to give you my opinion.
As of recent, and I'm going to admit this on camera, that I watch a few TikToks.
You're joking.
I watch one or two
You're
TikToks.
joking. Out loud on the bus?
No, that was...
Out loud in here when I'm trying to sleep in the next room with the door open?
No, that was me playing Pink Floyd. And basically Billy Joel has got a song on TikTok at the minute. Not you know, someone's used a song and it's trending.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? Pretty good song. I'm going to listen to a bit more Billy Joel. So as of recent,
in the middle of the night,
started listening to a lot of Billy Joel. And do you know what? He's sick. He's so good, right? To the point where I'm questioning, Elton John's a bit shit, actually.
So is your controversial opinion that Billy Joel's good, or that Elton John's a bit shit?
It's that I think Billy Joel doesn't get enough recognition as Elton John does.
I think Elton John's criminally overrated.
I like Elton John. I think I would genuinely put Tiny Dancer in my top 20.
Dog shit.
No, I'd put it in my top 20 favourite songs of all time. And Crocodile Rock. Crocodile Rock is my happy song. It's my go-to. If I'm ever feeling shit, I need a song.
Comedy song.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
But not by Bo Burnham.
That is, oh my god, let's not get started. But yeah, I've been listening to it, and it's been I've been teetering of like, because I do like Elton John. I'm not gonna deny it, but I just feel that Billy Joel, one, his songwriting is better, which obviously because Elton John's obviously works with other geezer.
Ed Sheeran.
No, not Ed Sheeran. The other guy that can write lyrics.
No idea.
Whatever his name is. If watch Rocket Man, you'll there's another guy.
Yeah.
And then
Freddie Mercury.
No, there's another guy. Less air. And
Easy.
Shit, not him either. Oh, imagine collab. But basically, Elton does piano bits, and when you put it down to lyrics, you put it down.
Eminem. He worked with Eminem.
I mean, he did. But why did you have to work with Eminem?
I think the Eminem collaboration was probably my favourite thing Elton John's ever done.
I mean, it was good to be fair. But yeah, when you break it all down, I genuinely think Billy Joel like beats.
So
Elton
your
John
controversial opinion is that Billy Joel's better than Elton John?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't really add much to that because the only Billy Joel song I know is Piano Man, which is great. And that one that in the middle of the night that was on in Stone Roses that time.
Oh, it was,
yeah. That's the first time I heard that. And I added it to my library then and there.
Really? That was the first time you ever heard that song?
I added it to my library then and there. I've not listened to it since.
Well, that's what you're going to listen to.
But I can't really weigh in on that one, mate, because I don't really know anything about either of them. But I think Elton John's shit.
Again, I like Elton John. I do. But my issue is that I just feel like Billy Joel gets a lot of praise. He does get a lot of praise in life. And, you know, everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows Piano Man. Everyone knows... Am I right in saying Uptown?
Don't say White Wedding.
No, is Uptown Girl Billy Joel?
Is Uptown Girl Billy Joel?
No.
I think it might be.
Is it?
I think it is, you know. And if it is, then Uptown Girl is probably better. I'd say Uptown Girl's better than any Elton John song I've ever heard. Shit. We used to sing Uptown Girl in assembly in primary school.
That's not what I wanted.
Uptown Girl, she's been living in a white brick world.
Yeah, it's Billy Joel, yeah.
Excellent. I love Billy Joel.
But this is my point. Like, he's got so many good songs, and you look at his, like, you know, his top suggested songs, and it's like banger after banger. And obviously Elton John's is as well. But why is Billy Joel not getting the same recognition? Why is Billy Joel not getting this?
Don't wear the glasses.
Is that all it is?
It's not it's the image, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's that one where he look. I know what you're saying about image, but there's that one where Billy Joel looks like Darth Vader when he's taking his mask off.
Yeah, but that makes him look like a fucking loser.
Are you mental? Darth Vader's cool.
Do you know much about illegal Lego building techniques?
I've seen a few bits. Like, yeah,
I've just been watching. Like, I've gone down the rabbit hole last night.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up because you said Darth Vader, and I was thinking of Lego Star Wars.
Great, I love it.
It's amazing. Some of the stuff people can build using illegal Lego techniques is insane.
Does it not cheat? It's kind of like, because you shouldn't be doing that.
Well, but it's thinking outside the box, isn't it? And sometimes Lego have implemented those techniques themselves. But anyway, if you're a fucking loser like me, type in illegal Lego techniques on YouTube. It's really interesting. I love the word illegal being associated with that. Like,
because it's
Lego. What are you in for? Put the brick piece upside down inside itself. So I couldn't really think of too many controversial music opinions.
No, because we are perfect, so we have the best opinion around.
I'm gonna just rapid fire through a few of mine that I wrote down. Some of them you might agree with. Some of them you might not know too much about.
I'll let you know if I agree with them or not.
I think Jay-Z, Biggie, and Nas are all not shit, but nowhere near top 20 rappers. I think Jay-Z is generally not very good. I think Biggie is very, very overrated. And if he didn't die, I don't think he'd be viewed in the same light that he is now. You could say the same about Tupac, but Tupac was better. So, and I think Nas.
I think I'm. Oh, go carry on.
Yeah, and I just don't think Nas is very good either. And I've met Nas, just to let you know.
Where'd you meet him?
I met him in the Supreme Store, mate, in Los Angeles.
Well, I think I'm definitely your wrong crowd for talking about rap.
Yeah, so I'll talk about another rap thing that's going to really piss people off. To Pimp a Butterfly is not Kendrick Lamar's best album. I don't even think it's his second best. I think Good Kid, Mad City is best. And I'd even say Damn is more enjoyable to listen to than To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly, Jake. I'm not sure how into
I have listened to.
It's a great album.
I've listened to that album.
It's a great record. It's incredibly well thought out. It's very deep. It has a lot of meaning. It's got a lot of instrumentation on it. It's very good, but I think it's just overrated. Incredibly overrated.
Is that the one where they're all in front of the
the White House?
Yeah.
Or the Capitol building.
Yeah, again, that's one King Kunta's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got great. It's Kendrick Lamar. It's going to be good.
What's happened to him?
He's one of the greatest of all time, mate. After like 3 albums, he doesn't need to do shit to fucking keep your appetite fed.
What album was I on?
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, shit.
But what he did was
he
he released I, which was a great song.
Yeah.
And then that was like 2 months before the album came out. And then when the album came out, the version that's on the album's totally different.
Yeah,
and it's
I remember
fucking
that.
shit. Well, there's probably 5 or 6 songs on To Pimp a Butterfly that are incredible, but I think it's viewed because it talks about a lot of, racial stuff.
Yeah,
and
because
it makes me feel
got a lot of those like breakdowns at the end of the songs.
It makes me feel like a lot of white guilt, which I guess is shows that it's a powerful piece of art. But I still just don't think it's as good as Good Kid, Mad City, which takes you through the streets and gang life and all this shit. And I think Damn is a really great conceptual album. I just don't think that To Pimp a Butterfly is that good. And I think that it's like a positive feedback loop. Like Anthony Fantano gives it a 10.
Really?
So then I think it's got a 10. So then like all your other music nerds are giving it a 10.
Yeah. Because
and everyone else, and it's just positive feedback, and it's hard to break out of that. And I think me from a few years ago, or maybe 5 or 10 years ago, would have been all about that. But
I think it says a lot more to just to be honest about it. It kind of. I'm thinking back to when the last podcast when we talked about the Biffy tour, and saying that there's it's all well and good saying it's good just to kind of like please people, but actually if you've got that platform, if you don't like it, just say you don't like it.
Yeah,
instead of kind of like going with the crowd.
You it's okay to not love everything that your favorite artist puts out, and people need to learn that, I guess. But again, I don't think people are performative that liking To Pimp a Butterfly. I just think he's put out much more interesting stuff than To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah. As someone that's very loosely a fan of Kendrick, I've seen him a few times. Brilliant. I can see where you're coming from. I think because I'm so loosely, I don't mind To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good. But that's someone that's just.
I mean, it won a Pulitzer Prize, which is generally generally a piece an award that doesn't go to rap albums. It goes to like academic pieces.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily music.
I mean, it's an award-worthy album.
Well, do you know what? It's great. It's one of the 100 best albums of all time, but it's not Kendrick's best. And I'd say on some days of the week, it's not even his second best.
Interesting.
I'll go with one more, which is completely
do.
Logistical. Adele's record just came out.
I haven't listened to it.
Neither have I. Adele was getting a lot of hate because she's projecting 500,000 vinyl sales.
Right.
So other artists could not get time at pressing plants to produce vinyls because every one of them in Europe was pressing Adele. Mm-hmm. Adele needed this inventory, and you saw people like Mike Van Aert, of course, and other
you joke.
You
joke. He didn't have something to say about it, did he?
He did, and other people that are outspoken musical names saying this is people in small bands. Yeah. We want to press our album. Blah blah blah. This is bullshit. Like, guess what? That's business, and Adele's well within her rights.
Yeah.
If her team's putting up the money to use all those plants because they're going to fulfill 500,000 orders, that's what they exist for.
That's unfortunately business.
That just because you and your little pop punk band, right, who's just sold out one Academy, wants to press your reissue of your first EP and you can't do it to get the extra revenue in, that's not Adele's fault. So stop having a go at Adele just because she's successful. And I'm not even an Adele fan, but it really pissed me off how many high and mighty fucking people were like, oh, you know, it's bollocks, like having a go at the pressing plants, having a go at Adele. And it's like, it's fucking, these places are a business.
Yeah.
Like they've just been through a pandemic when probably not a lot of people are putting out physical media. So if this
multi-millionaire artist is going to come around saying, hiya lads, I've got, you know, lads and lasses, I've got
and lasses, and the lasses.
I've got all this money here to give you to I got rum.
It's mental
to give you to press this vinyl. Why would they fucking not? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, yeah, I don't actually know this story, but going off what you're saying here, 100%. Like, why would they not do that? Because it is also the case of like, look how fucking big Adele is anyway. Like, the demands are there as well.
The reason she can use up all that pressing time and all that resource is because she's worked hard. She's very good. And sorry, neck deep, but you're just gonna have to wait, mate. And I'm sure your fans can wait as well.
At the end of the day, they don't want to be putting out an album around the same time as Adele anyway.
That's true. You want to put out your album and then do intimate shows where when you buy a ticket, each ticket purchaser gets 8 copies of the physical album sent to them as well, which is how we ended up with a fucking cupboard full of post-human survival horror and a fridge full of Twin Atlantics fucking record. And Broco, and guess what? It's a tactic. I get it. But I guess that's another musical opinion. It's what
we'll do when we bring out our album.
Here's another on-the-spot controversial musical opinion. I hate this cheapening of the charts.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like,
good point.
I don't know which band
100%.
it was. I want to say maybe Sports Team, but I don't know anything about Sports Team. I don't know anything. It might not be them. It might be Easy Life. It might be.
I think there's something about the Lathams as well. They sound like
maybe. Yeah. And I like the Lathams, but I don't know if it was any of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was. But someone like released their album. And then as the chart week was closing, they were like, it's available for £1. Mm-hmm. Get it for £1. Buy 10 copies. Yeah. And I think there should be some kind of disqualification.
Yeah, I agree, because when it comes to something like that, it's not about the music anymore. It's not about how good that music is. It's just competition.
It's just tactics.
It's like putting out an Insta.
The system needs to change, not the. We need individual change rather than. But
where are you?
Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z's album came out a couple of years ago, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago now. He signed a deal with like Pepsi, and it was like you got it free with Pepsi. So before his record came out.
Cool deal, to be fair.
Yeah. But there's a picture of him with a platinum sales plaque before the album's come out, because he's signed. Pepsi bought 1 million units of the album.
Wow.
And it's like cool. So
I mean, that's one thing Jay-Z does have about him. He's
cool. He's an incredible businessman. Yeah. He's literally a billionaire.
Yeah. You say the same about Kanye, to be fair. Like,
I agree. Like, I think they're amazing.
Shy music, but I tell you what,
I love Kanye. I'm a big Kanye fan.
Yeah.
But the chart system needs to change, because I'm sick of seeing bands doing gigs where you end up getting 8 copies of album mailed to you when you buy the ticket. And guess what? Like, that's also bad for the fucking environment. Because those post-human survival horrors are getting frisbeed straight out window. Let me see if we've got them.
Unfortunately, we're not living back at East Point, because that was the prime opportunity to see how well they flew, because lots of things flew outside. Oh my God.
Look, I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking, mate. Look at all these fuckers.
Man, I've not got one of those.
You don't want one, because guess what? It's on your phone.
Nah, good point.
Sealed copies. If anyone wants a signed copy of Post-Human Survival Horror, signed by me and Jim, give me that pen. We'll sign them now. And someone DM me the address on fucking Insta or Twitter or something, or send them DM Jake, and we'll send you these signed copies of Post-Human Survival Horror, signed by me and Jake.
An album that we've seen full live in wherever it was, Glasgow. Have the pen.
It wasn't Glasgow though, was it, mate? It
Let
was
me
nowhere
finish-
near Glasgow.
Let me finish my sentence.
It was in
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Guildhall. But yeah, I went off on a tangent there, but I think that's actually a Jake, it's a fucking push pen. Push lid Sharpie, you idiot.
What you want about, idiot? That's not a normal thing. As if.
Jake's impressed because the Sharpie has a push
Mate,
pen.
I've
spring
never
action.
seen that. Like, look, I've got...
No, I know what Sharpies are like, mate. I've got a drawer full of them.
Well, Jake, why are you pulling out a Sharpie from your pocket? Because I've just been at work, just to let you
If
know.
anyone asks you for signature tonight. Justin.
Oh, you did that one up.
Should we? Do you have any others to share, or shall we move on?
I would like to know what some of the people from Instagram think.
Let's have a look. Let me jump into the stories archive,
Upside down.
and we will have a look as you're signing those records.
You've signed them all upside down.
Oh, I don't care. When you're at work, it's that shit, mate. It goes either way. And for the record, I love that EP. Just want to make that
There we go,
clear.
guys.
It's a very good EP. Right, stories archive. Let's have a look here. How the fuck do you find this? All right, here we go. So, what have we got? Rory Bond, straight away.
Hey, Rory. How
with
you
a
doing, Rory?
controversial
You
one.
good?
Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino is the best
What a good
Arctic
album.
Monkeys album.
Not that good, I'm afraid. That is... what do you think of Tranquility Base?
I love it to bits.
It's-
I adore it.
It's good up until the 6th, 7th, whatever track it is, and then it just dwindles out by the end.
It does lose momentum, for sure.
Like, I could not name you the last however many
Yeah,
songs.
there is a couple of shitters in there. I think the last song, The Ultra Cheese, is good. But I think for me, it's probably their fourth best album.
When you're saying like the best Arctic Monkey album is Tranquility Base, like how do you not?
You're categorically wrong.
Because there's one defining album that has to be simultaneously said that is the best one.
Well, it's either going to be one or two.
Yeah, okay.
AM or the first one, whatever
Yeah.
people say I am,
Yeah.
which is my favourite Arctic Monkeys
Yeah,
album.
it would be mine, and it's not an album that I.
And AM's my second favourite.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. AM's definitely my second, but like I said, what I say, AM isn't one of it's not my favorite album of all time. It's not in my top 10 albums or anything like that. But it's a very good album. AM's incredible, but Tranquility Base is just like
I think Tranquility is better than, for me, it's better than Suck It and See.
Mhm.
And I would controversially say it's better than Humbug. I don't really care for a lot of Humbug. It's got some great songs on it.
Yeah.
Secret Door, Crying Lightning, Cornerstone, but it's also got a lot of shit like Fire and the Third,
yeah.
like Push and Approaching.
I would sort of. You're saying you're putting Tranquility fourth.
Yeah. So my Arctic Monkeys list is first album, AM,
Yeah.
Favorite Worst Nightmare, Tranquility Base. What's the one I was just talking about? Humbug. And then Suck It and See last.
Cool. I would probably. And you know what? And I can't really argue that because I completely understand like where you're coming from with that as well. Because
But I also listened to Suck It and See in full like 2 nights ago and loved it.
see for me,
it's
Suck
still
It's like
it's a very silky,
it's
poppy rock indie album.
It worked for the time, I think. Not what we got. It came out in 2011.
It did. I was at uni and I hated it when it came out.
Realistically, that was going on in 2011 anyway. In regards to that type of sound, like yes, there was a lot of indie shit, but
I can't remember 2011, but I remember that coming out. I remember listening to
Yeah.
that walking to uni. But no, you're wrong, mate, about Tranquility Base being the best album. We're not going to read all of these just because there's quite a lot.
Rory was the first lucky one.
Rory was the first lucky one. Here's one from Amy Russell. Hello, Amy. Listening to sad music while sad is not self-destructive. Now, I don't think that is a controversial opinion at all.
Do you do it?
Yeah, I listen to sad music all the time. I generally gravitate more towards slower
If you look
songs.
at my Apple replay, you'll notice a trend of it all being fucking sad shit.
I was sad last night, and there's a playlist on Apple Music, and I'm sure there's one on Spotify called the 1975 Slow Songs.
Cool.
And it's got Woman and Antichrist and Me, and it's fucking ace to just, and I don't think there's anything controversial.
I'm actually just going through the process now, actually, of making a curated playlist, 1975 chill. I'm calling it.
Chill
I'm
works.
calling it a chill
works.
playlist.
Chill, slow, sad, whatever.
That works for me, but in like an order that would like take me through a journey at the same time. Because I've really like
Ending with people.
oh, imagine. Maybe not so much that, but I've really like embraced the of just when I'm at home, just laying on my bed, lighting a few candles, not making it all burn out, so I have to redecorate my entire room.
No, okay. You'd never do that. Would you?
I would never do that. And just chill out and just zone out. Basically, I've got just zone out and just have this musical journey. And so I'm currently just curating something that's
slow, sad, chill music is better than any other kind.
There's a time and place for both.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wish that we could change the time and place. I want to go to a nightclub that's playing slower songs.
It was like that time because I remember.
Why does that never happen? Many a horror.
I remember
Change
you
Your
say.
Heart,
I was going to say. I
Birthday
remember the
Party,
many a horror.
all the
time
way.
you're in.
Like, I want to hear. There's so many great slow songs, and you never hear them out and about.
It's hard because why would you hear them in a club when you're meant to be out dancing and shit?
But that's the part of the thing. It's like you can't only be happy to an up-tempo song. You can also be happy and listen to a sad song.
Yeah.
But anyway, what Amy says, it's not self-destructive to be sad and listen to sad music. Absolutely not. Like, that sad music's probably made by someone who was sad.
Yeah.
And you can relate to them through the lyrics, perhaps.
And I like it when it helps a lot with Biffy when a few of their songs that, and it's not, I'm just saying Biffy as an example, but there's loads of other bands where it's those sad songs that you can put yourself in that situation, and that might not necessarily be what they're writing about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
you
can
add your own context.
interpret, and that's what I love about music.
That's kind of why
even though this is a controversial podcast, this one thing that I love.
It's why like Catfish are never going to be
because they're
a
too
great
direct.
band, because they're too literal with everything. Whereas bands like 75 and like Biffy and Arctic Monkeys, lesser in the early days, but much more so now, you just come up with what you think they're on about.
Yeah.
Unlike Catfish that just tell you an exact story.
Cortinas.
It's music for the... Cortinas are a bit more metaphorical in the later days, but there's a time for like direct music, as I say, like whatever people say, that's what I'm not, is purely just this is exactly what we're talking about and we're going to talk about it directly. The taxi. The red light is indicating the doors are secure. Do you want to jump the taxi? You should have seen this fight at the cash machine. Like, don't get more direct than that. But there's a time for that, and then there's a time for relating.
That's a good one, Amy. Amy, it's not controversial. We like that one.
Hope you're doing well. Right, what else have we got? We've met Amy multiple times, by the way, in case you think I'm just being weird.
I hope you well, Amy.
I hoped it first.
No, you didn't.
DB Kahuna says...
Oh, DB... Who?
Sorry,
I thought it was a band, sorry.
That's the person asking the question.
Well, in that case, then why is it not a band called DB Coon?
Maybe this is a band. There's nothing wrong with Nickelback, and it's society who has the problem.
Oh, I like this one. Right, what album is it? So I used to work in a...
Dark Horse.
I used to work in an Italian restaurant once, in the kitchen, doing all like food and shit. And we had a collection of albums that we listened to. So there was Appetite of Destruction, that Simple Plan one. It's the one where it's like lots of
I don't fucking know, mate. I'm not gonna know.
good
what
Simple
that
Plan
is.
album. Something else, and then Dark Horse by Nickelback. And that was one that got played the most because that is such a good fucking record. Like, that is my favourite Nickelback album. And it just makes me want to see Nickelback because they're so fucking good. That album would almost nearly make it into my top 10. It's certainly in my top 20 favorite albums because it's so good. It's one of those. I define a good album as an album you can listen to from start to finish, and that is definitely one that I can do that. It's so good, and yeah, I agree. Nickelback have a lot of shit. They've got a lot of. Yeah, Nickelback do have a lot of shit songs.
I hadn't heard that. Every Nickelback song I've heard, I thought that's all right. Like from when Silver Side Up came out, which was the debut, I think. I was in primary school, maybe year 5 or 6, so it must have been 2002, 3, and no, maybe earlier 2001. I don't know. Anyway, and we all loved it. Like it was a great rock album, not particularly hard or anything, but a great rock album. And then I think what ruined Nickelback is Chad Kroeger, the lead singer. I think he's notoriously just a prick. I think he's known for being a right wanker.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. I was like, I can't work out like why they get so much.
I think he has like
was it because they got because they were one of the first like rock I say rock band because rock band's well been popular, but it's like because they got like you were sitting on like Now That's What I Call Whatever with Rockstar. Is it because they were putting like that line might have been a bit too cheesy?
Like Rockstar wasn't one of the early ones, was it?
No,
they were hated before that.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, and I think it is Chad. I've seen something somewhere along the lines where like apparently Chad's just a prick. He acts like a jock, a real like bell end.
I could imagine that.
And apparently I think he feuds with a lot of beloved people. I think he had a feud with like Corey Taylor.
Wow.
And I just don't think he does himself any favors.
Is he still with Avril Lavigne? He's not, is he?
No. They split up ages ago. But yeah, I mean, I like a lot of Nickelback songs.
I think they're very, very good. And it's to the point where I've bought tickets to see him and it got cancelled and I just never went afterwards because I think Chad was getting some surgery.
There's quite a few here about Nickelback being good.
They are good. They genuinely are. And I would defend them and I will look forward to the day that I can go see them live because I do genuinely think that they are good.
Here's a fucking controversial one. Now, I don't know if you know a lot of these names. Maybe you do. Maybe you know more about them than me. I know the rough idea of what they're like. This is from Max Smith 121.
Hi, Max. All right. Oh, 121.
Hello, Max.
So he was the 121st.
He couldn't get the first 120. Fresh artists like Machine Gun Kelly, Kenny Hoopla, Paul Stacey, and JXDN, Jaden, are saving the rock scene. Now, Max, I love and respect you for following official TPD on Instagram and partaking in this.
Thank you very much.
But with no disrespect, I'm going to guess that you're pretty young because that's a mental fucking opinion, in my opinion. Like, let's just talk about Kells.
I mean, he's the only one that I know out of that list.
So there's like a collective of these fucking pseudo rock and roll. I want to people who wouldn't have made it in rock and roll, so they've got to latch onto another culture and then use those above them or switch lanes into something a bit rock. Like if Machine Gun Kelly came out, Machine Gun Kelly's been an artist for years and years, way over a decade.
I remember when he played Leeds the other year, I listened to a lot of his rap stuff and I actually got quite into it.
Not a bad rapper at all.
I got really into it. I thought he had some really good stuff.
Yeah. But like if he started out as a pop punker, he would never have made it.
100%.
It's almost cultural appropriation what these kind of artists do, I feel. Less so the younger ones, like a lot of the ones on this list here.
Yeah.
But to say they're saving the rock scene, I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the rock scene actually is.
Because one trend I think I've seen with all these kind of like new up and coming artists thinking they're rock is they follow a kind of and this isn't me kind of berating this band because they're great. We've seen them live before. They are good. But they're following this kind of like Blink-182 type formula of rock, and obviously Blink-182 are a very renowned band and are incredible, but they're not exactly the first band that comes to mind when you're thinking about
rock and roll,
and
rock,
thinking about just that no fucks given kind of thing.
It's complete. I don't want to gatekeep like rock and roll.
No.
That's not the point at all. But this is just the most diet, most soulless version of rock that you can get.
When you've got bands like Foo Fighters, who are 20 plus years on now, and still the most current, up to date,
the greatest
rock band of the generation.
Truly.
How do you compare that? And how do you compare that Machine Gun Kelly's, keeping it alive?
And I think that again, I don't want to grill Max like it's all love, but I think the fundamental thing is Max has almost proved his own misunderstanding by saying saving the rock scene as if rock and roll is dead or has ever died. I know that
Alex Cinema.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no, but Alex's point is like it never dies. It always the scene doesn't need saving, mate. Like there's two genres that dominate and sell out stadiums, and they're rock and pop. If you think of the bands we talked about so far, Rolling Stones, they're a rock band. Foo Fighters, they're a rock band.
So I'm actually thinking about this.
Adele, pop
they've
star.
only become rock because time's gone on. Because actually, back in the 60s, back in the 70s, all of what we're talking about here, that was classed as pop. That was popular music. That was what
the
people
Beatles
were listening to.
Are pop, yeah.
Yeah, of course they are. It's all about the time. And as time's gone on, we can look at the 80s with all the electronica, that changed the entire scene. And pop then became, as what it was, what we see today. But back in the day, rock was pop. And
pop is by definition popular music. It
absolutely.
Was not what it is today.
Yeah. And it's just a case of rock will always be here, and it's not going away. And we don't need someone like Machine Gun Kelly or anyone else in that list to save it, because it doesn't need saving. It's just the case that at this moment in time, guitar music isn't what people are wanting to listen to. It'd be interesting to see in 20 years' time, or however long, where guitar music is, to be fair. Because
I think it will just be as prevalent as ever.
Yeah, of course it will be. But it'd be interesting to see if it has a rise. If we see more, more consecutive.
I hate this
top 10.
Pseudo rock, like in between genre bending, like real Zoomer, TikTok rock.
I think that's a really valid point to make. The fact of TikTok, because TikTok's had such a massive influence on.
It's like
on kind of like the music genre, the music hits. Look at Olivia Rodrigo and
I think Olivia Rodrigo is great.
Yeah, she is good, but how important would she be in this world if she didn't have a hit song on TikTok? Kind of it's interesting to look at.
It's not to shame where people got their come up, but.
That
really
Pulp is a Rockstar
here,
song, a band I've never heard of yet. They've got this song on TikTok.
I do see it as cultural appropriation, like these rock acts, because do a fucking line of coke and a jab of heroin and throw a TV out of a window, mate.
Just like Keith.
Don't just paint your nails and wear a dress.
Dan.
Put your money where your mouth is, you fucking culturally appropriate. I'd just like to specify I've never done heroin or thrown a TV out of a window or any of the above.
It's just only, there's still time.
It just annoys me, man. It just annoys me.
The night's still young.
We've had a couple of drinks, so there's a lot of stuff in here about Nickelback being good.
Hey, Nickelback are good.
Here's one. Here's an interesting, controversial opinion. This is from Deck Chair 1992. Big up 92.
Yeah, that's a good name.
That's my year. The Red Hot Chili Peppers have released no good music since Californication in 1999.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think Chili's are generally shit.
There's various factors to this story, but it's still a valid point. Leeds Fest 16?
16 maybe?
Whatever it was.
17 maybe?
Chili's headlined, and I fell asleep during their set. Granted, hadn't slept for 2 days, but I fell asleep during their set because, and I look at this as a wave level. The most exciting point, the peak point of their set was when they came off from an encore and Flea was doing a walking on his hands. That was the most exciting part of the entire set. The rest of it, boring as fuck, man. And Chili's, you can't deny it. They've got a lot of bangers. They've got a good handful of songs that you can enjoy.
They sure do, yeah.
Enough
Down in California.
Enough
Snow.
to watch an entire headline set.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They've got some great
and that was the
singles.
highlight of that performance.
I love Under the Bridge. Yeah, great song. But I think...
What about Snow Hay?
I like Snow Hey-O. I think when we saw him, Frusciante wasn't with him, so I know we'll see him again.
Have they played with him yet? Because
they've been rehearsing.
Because he joined.
Yeah, he's back with them.
Because he joined with them lockdown.
He's back with them in the last few months. But I don't know if they've played a show. But I know they've been rehearsing.
It would be good to see them with it because
all
the good stuff.
They're doing a tour this year, aren't they?
Pardon?
They're doing a tour this year.
Are they?
Yeah, with Anderson .Paak supporting.
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
It's quite. I think we're going.
Cool. I'll look forward to that.
But I just think Chili's generally are a bit shit. I don't really like their sound or their style outside of a few select songs. That Leeds Fest,
because that
Leeds Fest performance was incredibly boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really, really dull. I was very underwhelmed.
Because whatever that album was that they did Dark Necessities on, and that
was the one with Josh Klinghoffer.
Yeah. So with Dark Necessities being like the lead single on that album,
I thought that was a good song.
It was good, but I tell you what, like what was exciting about it was a flat line song, like nothing happened in that song, and I think that was just like he just sold the entire album. Like, this is what this album is. It's an album that we've got a good song on, and
I'll tell you what's shit about Chili's, but also not their only, but like their biggest unique selling point as well is Anthony, the lead singer, Anthony Kiedis, because Flea and Chad Smith and what's his name? We were just talking about him. Guitarist.
Not Josh.
Not Josh. What the fuck's his name? John Frusciante.
Yeah, John.
So Flea, Chad, and John are like insane at their instruments. They're incredible. They're all like top tier, cream of the crop. But Anthony Kiedis is just not only quite dislikable, I think, but I don't really like his style or his vocal. But he's also the only thing that kind of makes him really unique.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because
I'd love to see like a Chili's, but with Dave Grohl on vocals.
What would be changed? Dave Grohl's he can do anything. Are you putting him as frontman?
Yeah, because what I'm saying is it'd be great to see what that band of instrumentalists would sound like with what I would say is a slightly more easy to listen to singer. I think Anthony's definitely the weakest link. And he shagged a 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah?
He's literally like, this isn't me trying to be cancel culture, but he's literally admitted to it in his book. He's like, yeah, I shagged this 13-year-old.
Good God.
He's literally like, so this girl was coming around with us on tour as a groupie, and I shagged.
How's she going around on tour?
I'm going to say this in the third person, just so Jamie Graham don't clip it. He shagged her, and then realised, shit, not only is she 13, but her dad's the chief of police. So he shagged her again and then put her on a bus. But I'll tell you, it's what used to happen in rock and roll. Iggy Pop's got
Steven Tyler.
Iggy Pop's got
Elvis.
Don't ruin Tyler for me, mate. Iggy Pop's got a song about there was like this famous like groupie. There's a name for them, like the kid groupies that would shag the bands. And Iggy Pop's written a literal song about this famous one. Who was famous for like going around. It was
all going
shagging
off
them.
in fucking wherever it was that Iggy Pop was. Detroit, maybe?
Mental.
Or wherever it was.
And if anyone didn't like that first controversial opinion from me about Lostprophets, then you can't listen to Chili's. Here's a good one.
Actually, that's a good point, actually. Why are... So hold on, then. Let's go. Let's just...
It's just the way it's revealed, innit? It's just about like there's no scandal. It just came out in his book, which only his fans are gonna buy. It was in a time before the internet and before. I'm not saying that makes it okay, but it just meant it softened the blow of that news.
It's interesting because there is a lot of cases, you know, of like I say Elvis and Steven Tyler, you know, them both doing some very weird stuff back in the 60s.
Not 70s. In the elevator, Stephen.
But how, you know, some
it's weird, isn't it? How it's just accepted of a past generation to a degree. Very weird.
Just don't do it. I'll tell you what, just don't do it now. Please. God forbid, just don't do it now.
Don't do it now. Anyway, moving on. Here's one from Ewan Eskins.
Ewan.
I'm going to change his question slightly, but it's the same point.
Ewan, your question wasn't good enough, so we're going to change it.
Mr. Brightside is not a great song.
That's not... Yeah, of course it's fucking not.
Mr. Brightside. He put Mr. Brightside is the worst song on Hot Fuss, but I don't really know that album in and out. That's the album that it was on. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, context. I work in a venue that plays that has a lot of bands that play cover bands, and they all play Mr. Brightside and Dakota. All of them play that song, those songs. They are fucking shite, man. Like it's because of like the lick. It's because there's got something for people to sing along to, and it's shit. It's so shit. I can't listen to it at all.
Mr. Brightside's a great song.
It's fucking not.
Yeah,
no, fuck off.
It's brilliant.
No, it's not.
It's brilliant.
Why is it brilliant?
The drums are brilliant.
Fuck off.
Nothing too complex. Really good drum track. The guitar lead is so interesting. It's so interesting that. Like, how did he come up with that? It was played on a Gibson Explorer, and it's so interesting, that guitar lead. It's quite difficult to play. I can play it, but it's quite difficult to play. And I think that's really impressive. But more than any of that, it's just a great song, and the only reason it's hated is because it's heard too many times.
Why is... Okay, right. Yeah, I'm going to...
It's a brilliant song. It's a fucking brilliant song.
Serve you a 15-point array.
What's that? Is that a good one?
No, it's like tennis, isn't it? Like,
is 15 a pointer a good one?
I don't know. It's like 15 love, 30 love.
I don't know what that is.
Well, whatever it is. But
I'm not Jewish.
So, right, okay. So, why is Mr. Brightside better than Somebody Told Me? Somebody Told Me it's such a good song.
I think Somebody Told Me it's a brilliant song. I didn't say it was better than Mr. Brightside. or I think Mr. Brightside, it's Mr. Brightside on its own is a brilliant song. And then the allure around it as being such an iconic song, for me, adds to that.
Why do you think it's such an iconic song?
Because it's kind of, again, it's a bit of a positive feedback loop, but where I'm part of the positive feedback, I guess. It's an incredibly good song, I would say, even if no one ever listened to it. I think it's a really good song. But because it is played and played and played, like Don't Look Back in Anger, it's...
But I would never class those into... I could listen to Don't Look Back in Anger more than I could Mr. Brightside.
But I guess... Yeah, maybe. I just think Mr. Brightside's great, and I think that it has the allure that Somebody Told Me doesn't, because Mr. Brightside, which way you want to look at it now, is truly an iconic song that will be remembered for generations. It's still in the charts now. It came out in 2004.
I think it's the Sweet Caroline of our generation.
And something about that also feeds it. So the same reason that people hate it, in my opinion, is because it's been heard a million times. But the fact that it's so beloved and so well known kind of feeds its own. It kind of feeds itself, and it becomes a positive feedback loop again. But I think for me, this is a positive one because I think Mr. Brightside's great, and I'll roll my eyes when a lot of songs come on in the club. But if Mr. Brightside comes on, I'll genuinely enjoy
I hope
myself.
You don't do that tonight, Rob.
No, they won't play in Key Club, mate.
No, it's rock anthems tonight.
I think Killers are great. Like When You Were Young, somebody told me.
Oh, When You Were Young's great. Actually, I wish I said that one.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I think it's so.
All these things that I've done, even some of the mid-career stuff like Spaceman and whatever else. Human. Oh, I don't really like Human, but I think Mr. Brightside's excellent. And I would wager that most people don't like it just because they're sick of hearing it, as opposed to this is actually a bad song.
Maybe that might be because I've heard it so many fucking times that
it has outstayed its welcome. I think in many ways, like why did Fluorescent Adolescent not become the Mr. Brightside? It's another great indie / rock song that's similar in general tone and feel, I guess, but. Yeah, I think Mr. Brightside, it deserves its place. Every generation.
What's your views on the Killers in general?
I like the Killers. Yeah, they're one of the few big UK bands that I've not seen yet, and I can't wait to eventually see them. I think they're a great band.
Again, I think I will I'd put this as like because of Mr. Brightside, I don't like them. But again, I look at somebody told me when we were young. I think they're great songs. I think incredible. So I think they're one of the bands for me that would. Have to be one of those that I'd have to see live to appreciate them, maybe. But it is one of those where Mr. Brightside's just ruined it for me. Because, maybe you are right. Maybe it's because it's overplayed. If it wasn't overplayed, would I appreciate it more? Maybe. Because it does have that very interesting guitar, as you said. And I don't know. It's a weird one for me. It is a weird one.
Yeah. I'd love to know what everyone thinks. Here's one from Izzy Downing. Izzy, you've been part of this community for a very long time, and thank you for that. Izzy says, Pearl Jam are better than Nirvana. Nirvana are only as big as they are because Kurt died. Now, Pearl Jam, for anyone who's not particularly associated with grunge, are one of the big four of grunge. Mm-hmm. There's Pearl Jam, there's Nirvana, there's Alice in Chains.
And
Soundgarden. Pearl Jam are better than Nirvana, she's saying. I don't know what your experience with Pearl Jam is.
Not a lot. Not a lot, but my view is that Nirvana are overrated completely.
Yeah, I think Nirvana, aside from In Bloom, I don't think Nirvana have a single great song. I think they've got some good songs.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have a song that makes me go, banger.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that one. It's a case of Nirvana had you said it right actually. They had a lot of good songs, but not a lot of great songs. But
yeah,
then again, I argue what's Pearl Jam's great songs?
Pearl Jam,
because then I'd maybe argue actually Soundgarden are better than Pearl Jam and subsequently better than Nirvana.
Pearl Jam, I'd say, are the best of the four.
Yeah.
They have a song called Alive.
Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder, isn't it?
Yeah. They have a song called Alive, which is probably one of the best. It's probably in the top 50 rock songs ever written, I'd say, if I was writing my own list.
Mm-hmm.
They've also got songs like Even Flow. My mind's gone fucking blank. Their album 10 is generally a really good album. What's their Yellow Lead Better, it's called. I'm not a big grunge fan. I'll tell you what's interesting about grunge. It's pretty miserable sounding, isn't it?
Yeah, like the word grunge itself is
I've only
not
just thought of this, right? Kurt Cobain
he's one of my least favorite rock albums.
Kurt Cobain shot himself in head.
Genre.
Lead singer of Alice in Chains killed himself. Or died, but he's been dead for years. And Chris Cornell killed himself.
Yeah.
So Eddie Vedder's the only one.
Go on, Eddie.
So I would argue their music must be pretty nice to listen to.
Yeah, it's...
Pearl Jam, I'd say, are better than Nirvana. And if you think Soundgarden's better than Nirvana, I'd also say Soundgarden's better than Nirvana.
Yeah, I'd agree. Nirvana aren't, which is awful to say considering how much we love Dave Grohl. Like,
what? Oh, I forgot about. Yeah, but his contribution in Nirvana, I think it's
minimal.
I think it's too overblown. He's a good drummer. Yeah. He's got a very signature sound. You can hear him play like an eighth beat, and you can tell that's Dave Grohl. But I don't think he had enough. I like Kurt is Nirvana for me. I don't think about Dave Grohl when I think about Nirvana.
Dave's an interesting one because where would you where I think about this a lot. Where'd you put him in like the greatest drummers of all time? Because the issue is like you could have a list of greatest.
He's not really in the conversation for me.
He's just the greatest overall. Like he's just someone you want in a band just to like just do something.
I think he's an amazing drummer and he's got a really signature style, but for some reason he just don't capture my...
Would you rather have him as a drummer or a frontman?
A frontman for sure.
Would you?
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. He's an amazing drummer. Better than I could ever dream to be. But he just don't capture that for me.
Okay,
just
then let's break this down. You have him as your frontman. Are you having his frontman as singer or guitarist?
Both frontman and rhythm guitar,
Okay.
singer and rhythm guitar. Foo Fighters position.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
his best position.
Because together he's not the greatest singer in the world, and he's not the greatest guitarist in the world. Yet somehow he's able to put those two together and still encapsulate
become the greatest frontman ever.
Imagine if Freddie picked up a guitar. Oh wait, I suppose he did that crazy little thing called Love. But
Did he? Does he play guitar in that?
I mean, very, very lightly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Telecaster, fucking just using his thumb or whatever. It's not worth watching, man.
Let's have a look through some more of these. I'm skipping quite a few just because in the interest of time.
That's fine because I do need a piss soon. So
yeah. Okay, well, maybe we'll do one more, and then there's plenty more to go through if you guys want to see a second part of this. So let me pick a good one.
I dare you. I dare you to pick
I'm looking, mate. I'm looking. All right. A lot of ones about Nickelback
because they're great.
Oh, I want to pick a
nice hard hitter to
Yeah, I want to pick something that's quite polarizing that we probably have a good amount to talk to. Fuck the shit in bed.
Guys, what are you doing? Why are you picking? Why are your opinions so like not as good as we thought they were going to be?
There is good ones on here, but it's just how much do we have to talk about them? Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. Don Broco. This is from Lee Gamage.
Hi, Lee.
No, it's
you
not.
All right, mate.
No, it's not.
Shit.
It's not. I just thought it was Lee's profile picture. This is from Mr. C.
Hey, Mr.
It says,
C.
Don Broco and Bring Me the Horizon are massively overrated in the TPD community specifically.
That's a bold statement to make in the TPD community. Oh, hold on.
Let's break it down. So what he's saying is our community rates these bands too highly. I think that's just the nature of how we've amassed
presented them.
We've made a lot of content about Don Broco. We've made a decent amount of content about Bring Me the Horizon.
Which is interesting because I would never class us as like massive Bring Me the Horizon fans.
Yeah, me either.
So it's interesting considering you'd think we'd...
They probably come with the Broco territory, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Maybe that wasn't the best one to pick.
No, but it's interesting about Broco because Broco is such like a massive factor to our channel. Again, I disagree with Broco because...
I don't think that they could ever be called overrated no matter what they do in the future just based on how good Automatic was.
Yeah. However much I really don't care for Amazing Things. I think it's a very... you know what? I'm going to be honest with everyone. I've listened to it twice and that's all I've listened to it to. It just doesn't do anything for me. But as you say, with Priorities, Automatic, and Technology... incredible albums, very, very good albums. There's something that is those albums that have something for everyone. You know, they've got kind of the nice glam 80s feel with Automatic. They've got kind of the punchy.
Are you pissed?
Yeah, of course I'm fucking pissed.
You've had a lot of rum.
Yeah, mate. I've
only had 3 fucking Coronas.
No, mate. I've had rum. I've had beers on train.
Yeah, I need to catch up. Listen, we'll cut this off, right? We're gonna do one more because it's one we'll have a good amount to say. This is from Ethan Wounded. Biffy Clyro do not belong. Biffy Clyro do not belong at Download.
Ethan, did you say?
Yeah, Ethan.
Ethan, mate. Excuse me. Who do you think you are?
I know, obviously, you're asking. We asked for controversial opinions. And with us two, that is...
Going on to Kraken now, just let you all know,
That
guys.
is the most controversial. I would just challenge you. I'd say try and think a bit differently and think outside the box. You hear a lot of people complain that Biffy aren't metal. Well, guess who else isn't metal? Aerosmith, Tool, Guns N' Roses. None of those bands are metal, but they've headlined to no complaints.
Where's Foo Fighters?
You know, Biffy are a young-ish. I mean, they've been going for 20 years, but they're not one of the greats, and they're still, local to the United Kingdom, and they're doing these headline slots at big festivals. I'd challenge you to look for what is the actual reason that they're being booked. Probably because they're a bit cheaper than the others, that's for sure. But I'm trying to deal with this one in the most positive way possible. I'd just challenge you to maybe Google or find a playlist of Biffy Clyro heavy songs and see why they've actually been booked. Because I really do think
I'd like to question his alternatives, maybe, and which I know there is some. There is other bands that you could maybe think of that by being given the slot of headliner, could then elevate their career in a sense as
yeah. I'd also be interested to see, because I don't really have the answer off the top of my head. The first thing that comes up is Bring Me the Horizon, but I honestly think they're more of a Reading and Leeds band now.
Yeah, I agree.
And let's forget Bring Me the Horizon's first 2 albums, because they contributed nothing towards their current success. Yeah. Are they really that different from Biffy in the path they've taken? I mean, Sempiternal for sure was heavy.
Well, that's the thing. Because I remember seeing
the one before that.
I remember seeing Bring Me.
I just want to make it clear they're totally different bands, but they're both bands who have a lot of poppy stuff and a lot of heavy stuff.
Well, I remember
give them a go.
I remember seeing Bring Me at Download in 2014 when Sempiternal came out, and the crowd there was like massive. Like it was like such a good response to it, and people were like these are great, these are incredible. Yet now, fucking 8 years later or whatever it is, people are kind of questioning it, and yet they've got so much more popular as well. Because why should a Radio 1 slot in a being able to play it on Radio 1 ruin the fact that they shouldn't be able to headline? Fucking Daniel P. Carter's got his radio rock. He's got his rock show on a Sunday evening or whatever. It's like, just because you're on Radio 1 shouldn't then nullify you for being able to be rock and roll or heavy or anything like that.
I genuinely think at the heaviest that I've heard, Biffy are heavier than Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden aren't heavy.
If we go on to Iron Maiden, when we get into
we're not talking about. He didn't mention anything about heavy. I'm just trying to think of his reasoning why they don't. I don't know, Ethan, if you just heard some singles or whatever, but I would challenge you to think differently about that one. How's that for a political answer? They're just a great rock and roll band, mate.
They are, and for me, I've had conversations with people before, and it's a case of just go see them, and then tell me if you've got the same opinion. Because once you've seen Biffy live, and I'm saying this about Biffy, but I think it goes for a lot of bands. Like, see them live, see them in context, see them, in regards to that. And then see if you've got the same opinion of them, because a lot can change. Some bands are shit alive, some bands are better live. Just give all aspects a chance, I'd say. And with Biffy, I'd definitely say live, they're definitely better.
There's a few bands I'd rather have there than Biffy, to be honest. Like, we've just seen Biffy 100 times. I'd rather have Rage Against the Machine.
I'd rather have Foos.
I'd love to see Foo Fighters.
Why haven't Foos done Download?
I'd love to see AC/DC. I'd love to see Metallica. But outside of them, I think they're probably... I'd love to see Avenged Sevenfold do it again.
Bon Jovi.
Not Bon Jovi, but outside...
Mate,
I think
how good
Biffy's
would...
Biffy's
I think how
a
good Bon Jovi would be. They're a classic rock band.
They're shit.
The Aerosmith status...
No, they're not.
Of course they are.
Yeah, they probably are, actually.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not. They're nowhere near. Aerosmith,
What do you mean?
Aerosmith are like the biggest selling rock band of American history.
Living on a Prayer.
Yeah, I know, but that's just one song. Aerosmith are
You
way...
give love a bad name.
Aerosmith are way bigger than Bon Jovi.
And I don't... Are
Let's
they?
have a look. Let's leave them with this one. Let's leave them with this. So let's have a look at Aerosmith. Aerosmith album. Having tight
Mate, Bon
sales.
Jovi are so fucking good and underrated.
Bon Jovi album.
Oh, God, I need a piss.
Sales. Well, we're going to end in a sec, all right? Bon Jovi has sold 120 million records.
So many albums, man. They're so good.
And Aerosmith 150 million.
Oh, a couple more. one or two more.
Aerosmith were doing the intimate gig with 8 copies of the album free.
Yeah, they're also playing in Sheffield next year.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Thanks everyone for listening. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
rambling, but we have had a drink. It's been a good one. Yeah. Oh, great band. That's not controversial. Right, we'll see you in a bit, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. God, I need a piss.